Actual nightmare!
Yes, my boy. Yes, you do. Hello all, and welcome to the first of what will be a multi-part series going over exactly, or at least a theory, of the entire meaning behind the new Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared TV show, because there is a lot to unpack here. If you haven't watched the show yet, I would recommend pausing the video and going to do that first, because there will be major spoilers up ahead. Good? Alright, let's jump right in. In this series, we will discuss self-awareness, copies, numbers, colors, stares, the timeline, and even this friendly fellow right here. In this episode, though, we are going to be discussing symbols. Not just any symbols, though. These symbols.
Oh, and I actually made up a little spatial distribution-based puzzle of my own, see?
While it may seem impossible to figure out what these symbols mean, it is quite clear when looking closely.
Look closely, you will see.
Each of these symbols make plenty of appearances in the show. And when I say plenty, I mean plenty. Luckily for us, though, the show starts telling us what these, or at least one of these symbols mean in the 4th episode.
I know. Try my name.
Oh yeah, okay.
Pause. Rewind. Enhance. Flip. Spin. Invert. Collapse. Discombobulate. John Travolta. Roll. All kidding aside, this is extremely important. We are told that this symbol, the first of 6, is Duck's name. But what can the rest of them mean? Well, we can figure that out, but to do so, we must analyze and recognize patterns with this first symbol. So let's start looking closely.
Look closely, you will see.
The patterns we are concerned about are the times and locations that this duck symbol shows up. Sadly, like we showed before, these symbols show up a lot. After analyzing, we can decide that the most important location is right here. Well, that and here. And also here. And this one right here. To start, let's focus on the dollhouse, but we need to zoom out a little bit. Alright, not that much. Now that we see the full blackboard, some new things can be shown to us. We can see the duck symbol right here, but that's not all. We can also see this symbol and this one as well. These symbols are shown as important because they are on the wall of the dollhouse that no one would ever see. Even on the set they are unseen because they're behind the camera. These are the most important symbols for us right now, and in a way, the most important symbols. Keep these 3 symbols in the back of our head. Or, actually, why don't I just put them up here? On this book, we can see all 6 important symbols, including our 3 at the top of the screen, each in a new row with a partner symbol, and based on how reading is done in English, we can divide the symbols like this. Let's put these 3 symbols where they belong. Now let's take another look at the book. All over the color, we can see representations of the 3 main characters. At the top, we can see Duck, Yellow Guy, and Red Guy's eyes. In the middle, we can see a Roy coin, which represents Duck from the 1st episode, and batteries that represent Yellow Guy. At the bottom, we can see a hand, which represents Yellow Guy in the 1st episode, and it also makes me really appreciate that I'm not in a workplace accident or on fire. Sorry, I don't know what got over me. We can see a clock, which represents all 3 of them, as we see it as the main centerpiece for their living room. The final item here is a shovel, which was unexpected, but we can still figure out who this represents by rewinding a few seconds. As Yellow Guy walks through Leslie's attic, we can see 3 objects with shapes and colors that represent each character. Duck's green window shows cuddle dollops, Red Guy's red window shows a shovel, and Yellow Guy's yellow window shows batteries. If you're wondering why Red Guy's object is a shovel when it was Yellow Guy who dug something in this show and Duck who killed someone with the shovel, I am too. I think maybe it refers to the original series and may represent Red Guy's creativity by referencing this guy from the 6th episode, but that may be a stretch, so I don't think we have enough information to know why this represents Red Guy right now, but all we know is that it does. Write down in the comments if you think you may know the reason. Now we see how the book cover represents all 3 main characters, and knowing that one of the symbols is Duck's name, we will assume that the rest of the symbols represent the main characters too. To find out what really drives home this theory is the next picture. In this splash screen, we can see 2 of our main symbols, Duck's name and this second one. Some people think that this second symbol might mean family, but I don't think that's quite it. We see this symbol pop up many more times than just this episode, such as here in episode 1, here in episode 2, and here in episode 6. There are more times we see the symbol as well, but I don't think a symbol that would mean family would be in some random trash can in the Jobs episode where family is never mentioned, on the fridge in an episode that is before they started considering themselves as a family, when we know for sure they barely even thought of each other as friends,
We're close.
I mean, I know you. I know which one you are.
and on a wall of the dollhouse where we specifically go into a lack and loss of family. Instead, let's start thinking about the reason that these two symbols would be the only ones shown here. At this point in the episode, Duck gets kicked out of the house for not following the rules, and later Red Guy gets kicked out after his blood was taken. The only person left is Yellow Guy, and then we see this splash screen. We know that one of the symbols is Duck's name, and only Duck and Red Guy are gone, so it is very safe to assume that with everything we've seen from the book, the blackboard, and this splash screen, that this symbol is Red Guy's name. Now, some of you might still not believe me, but that's why this video isn't over. I'm going to show you even more evidence for the theory that these symbols are the names of the main characters and what these last three may be. Knowing that this symbol is Duck's name, and this symbol is Red Guy's name, we can assume that this final symbol is Yellow Guy's name. Not! How dare you assume? Come on, guys, I thought you were better than this. This isn't as easily inferable as Red Guy's name. We need some hard evidence that this final symbol is Yellow Guy's name. But luckily, I came prepared. To prove this, we need 2 different moments. Well, really technically 6 different moments, but still only 2.
Try and keep up, mate.
The first, and 5, moments are the intro to the show.
That's 3 of us.
In every single intro, we can see this symbol on the shelved book right here. And that's it right there, all the evidence we need. Yellow Guy is God, and these symbols are the deities we worship inside the Earth's core. Woo! No, but seriously, this is some pretty lame evidence right here. It doesn't really show much, but that's why we also have this next moment. In episode 4, while Red Guy and Duck are trying to use the internet to diagnose and solve Yellow Guy's issue, we can see a printed diagram. Pause. In this X-ray diagram, we can see not just a worm in the brain of the patient, but also a battery, which means this diagram is supposed to represent Yellow Guy. What's that down here? It's Yellow Guy's name. Some of you may think this is just coincidence, but on the contraire. Let's zoom back out. No, farther. There we go. Let's look at this last picture here. Here, during Duck's funeral, they show a slideshow of his life, and during the picture where he is in a plane, what's that? It's Duck's name on something that represents himself. We see here that people's names show up on things that represent themselves. The plane, the splash screen, the diagram, all of these things represent our main cast. These 3 symbols right here are each of the main characters' names. How cool is that? We figured out that these 3 symbols are the main cast's name and which one is which. But why don't we go even further by taking an even closer look?
Look closely, you will see.
Let's look once again at how these symbols are grouped. Here we have 2 symbols in Red Guy's section, 2 symbols in Duck section, and 2 symbols in Yellow Guy's section. While I don't think we can know exactly what these secondary symbols mean, I think we're able to come up with some theories. One way to look at it is that these symbols could be the characters' surnames, but that would be kind of weird considering that would mean that Yellow Guy's name is after his surname. What I think could be the real meaning is that each of these are a trait that each of them possess. This specific trait will play a vital role later in the show and will be the way that all 3 of them finally break out of this never-ending cycle for good. We also know for sure that there will be at least 1 more season based on a YouTube short that was posted 7 months ago by someone who was in a recording session for Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared.
And action.
The Pirate King has found his way back to the fortress. I wonder if he still has access to the twin goblins, Garamouche and Scaramucci. Ooh, this is a real saucy adventure for me!
Here we can see a still frame of what looks like a full set behind Duck and Red Guy, with new voice lines being filmed only 7 months before the release of the show. This and the almost cliffhanger-like ending of the show can tell us that there will be a season 2, so get pumped. We've covered quite a lot in this one video to show only one thing, but these symbols are one of the most important aspects of this entire show, and understanding these symbols is extremely vital in understanding what this book could possibly mean. Just to make sure we fully understand these symbols, I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a minute. If these symbols were their own names, how would they not recognize them?
What? Are these letters or numbers?
Good question. I've actually been experimenting with a third symbolic subset.
While this type of thing would normally be a theory killer, we have one big exception here. On the napkin, we can clearly see Duck's name written here, but based on episode 4, Red Guy knew Duck's name.
Try my name.
Oh yeah. Okay.
We know why they didn't recognize these symbols. It's because they aren't the same Red Guy, Yellow Guy, and Duck that we saw in episode 4. But that's something we'll save and discuss in the next episode. If you have any disagreements or other ideas, let me know in the comments below, or you can even give me some more evidence to solidify my theory. Next episode, we will discuss how the book was made, the idea of alternate versions of Red Guy, Yellow Guy, and Duck, and what happened to Clayhill, so click that bell icon after subscribing to let you know when the next video is up, and I'll see you next time. Oh, wait, and of course, special thanks to Roy.